88 VC is an early stage venture capital firm, right? Founded in 2023, very recent. Network 888 Accelerator LLP based in Bangalore, India. The firm backs founders uh, who are building category defining technology led businesses, right? Investing from seed to pre seed and pre series A, writing their first checks of, let's say, about $500, sorry, $500,000. Apologies. I have quite a few people suddenly looking at me said $500. Okay, so it's $500,000 and partnering very closely with the founders as it double downs on conviction-led winners. 888 VC. So what they offer and within the whole ecosystem, what they've created is the Grow 8 platform. I always read that as growth platform, right? So the Grow 8 platform, a next generation platform for growth and partnerships. Grow 8 platform, the Grow 8 Club within it is an exclusive invite-only community of industry leaders and investors, right? 888 VC, it has a comprehensive investment services, which includes syndicate, SPV formation, special purpose vehicle formations, angel investments, and fund formation and operations. 888 VC global mentorship. That's another one of the offerings, which is connecting entrepreneurs with top mentors globally, right? Through their Mentor Connect platform. Finally, 888 VC cross-border investments is facilitating international growth through initiatives like US UAE Global Pitch Days and a dollar 10 million USD syndication, right? So there's a lot of work happening around 888 VC and what they are bringing to the table. The startup founders are there, businesses out there should connect and explore how they can benefit from the ventures or the services provided by 888 VC. Right. Talking of capital, I would now switch to talking about marketing. We have put together this massive event. We have been making a lot of noise on social media. All our speakers, partners, right? They are also tirelessly working with us. But the marketing angle of any event, some of you would have heard about our event because of the marketing effort. So Renwick Media, right? You see their logo also right now. Renwick logo. The Renwick Media is a premium digital marketing agency based in Mumbai, India, focused on helping businesses grow their online presence and drive measurable results. What they do, the core services basically span SEO, email marketing, social media marketing, lead generation, growth hacking, offline SEO. They're all aimed at improving organic traffic, search rankings, and of course, user engagement. They leverage data driven strategies using analytics for targeted campaigns, combining SEO optimization with innovative designs and integrate social media to engage audiences across all the different platforms. Good old days where you could advertise in one place and you would be done. For when I was growing up, TV was the place where you would advertise. The next best was the hoardings on the street, on the roads, right? Now, the avenues for advertisement in terms of channels, platforms, digital media has kind of skyrocketed. So they help you make sense of that entire thing. The case studies highlight outcomes like 6x increase in search traffic, 47% increase in mobile visits, and even a 45% increase in page views. They have worked with brands such as Allnet, Sparsh, Swanshilp, and RP Raka, amongst the others. So, all in all, I would say Renwick Media is a growth focused digital marketing agency targeting businesses looking to boost their online visibility, generate quality leads, and convert their digital traffic into real business outcomes, primarily serving in the Indian market. Right. So, Renwick Media is an active partner to us in bringing pitch to everybody. And if in case you want to connect to them or you want to connect to 888 VC, reach out to us and we can help connect you with them. Right. With that, I'll spend just one more minute on introducing one more partner, and then we can move on to our next segment, right? Talking about Techlore Information uh, Technology LLC, right? They are a UAE-based IT services company headquartered in Abu Dhabi. The company functions as an IT services partner that turns complex digital goals into working outcomes. An extremely important service for corporates which have got fantastic, sometimes very lofty goals, but no practical implementable plan to execute it. So that's where they come in. Uh, they work into designing and operating secure, scalable platforms across areas including multi-cloud cybersecurity, data as a service, generative AI, infrastructure modernization, sustainability, and managed services. Techlor provides solutions for modern networks management and offering 24 by 7 network operations center and also security operations center. They support that through a dedicated team of network engineers. They also offer virtualization and containerization services. Now, that's very, very interesting. And if you have not heard about these two concepts of virtualization and containerization services, you should Google it up or basically ask ChatGPT these days. And they're working with leading vendors to give clients access to the latest technologies available for their goals. So I've talked about three of our partners who have been really helping us build what we are building. We talked about ADPC, partner. We have talked about Renwick Media as a marketing partner, and we have talked about Techlore as a technology partner. Well, we've had this segment focused on our partners, and now we are going to move towards our next panel discussion. We are through with the first half of our event, and now as we enter our second half, we want to touch upon three very important conversations. We have rural entrepreneurship to touch first. Then we will move on to women entrepreneurship and women investors, and finally to student entrepreneurship. Now, when it comes to the rural entrepreneurship conversation, the conversation is around building again an entire ecosystem where the rural India participates and grows in a very, very different direction. And if you can just give me a moment. Okay, okay. So here I am back, talking about rural entrepreneurship. We have heard Jay sir talk about how he saw the satellite instrument which was monitoring crops, etc., being built by the kids, the girls in the village, right? Rural entrepreneurship is a lot about creating an impact at the grassroots level and mobilizing forces. It is about enabling people to participate in the whole entrepreneurship journey. Charlie from Sinus talked about somebody has an idea, and the first thing often think is, will I be able to do that? It's for someone else, and someone else can turn it into a business. I just have an idea. It's about creating infrastructure in rural India to build things. Also, it is the infrastructure to build for rural India, right? We have our speakers talking about how they are enabling entrepreneurship in rural India, while we also have people who are talking about what are they building in rural India, right? So two speakers along with our uh, moderator, Priyanka, please. Three of them, we are going to present a perspective about rural entrepreneurship, which you would really want to hear because while you may not be connected with the rural side of the world, but the impact and the changes there are going to be significant. So, rural entrepreneurship, in a way, is an extremely important topic for the Indian subcontinent, all the countries in and around India, as well as the African continent. And you would be surprised that there are other parts of the world which have started to take keen interest in that area because it means a lot, because there is a lot of resource optimization which needs to happen to drive initiatives at that. Right? So we are going to have a conversation around rural entrepreneurship first. First, we talk about women entrepreneurs, and we are going to have a completely all women panel talk about it. I've seen the remarks online where we have had women entrepreneurship panels being led by men. So we were very careful not to do that. It's a very it's a power team that you will meet in the women entrepreneurship panel discussion. And finally, we come to the student entrepreneurs. We will have three adults talking about student entrepreneurs and talking about how they are enabling student entrepreneurs at various levels. And it's going to be a very different conversation. And then we have got three student entrepreneurs, kids who have who have achieved something, kids who are running businesses. I envy what they are doing, and I am completely, it's like mind blown moments we get when I first read about them, and I've been fortunate to meet them in person also. So, with that, I should move towards introducing our speaker, our moderator for the day. Our moderator for the sorry, I keep losing track of my own thoughts. At times, our moderator for the day is Priyanka. And Priyanka, I'm actually having a brain freeze moment right now. So I am going to hand over the stage to you. Okay, my laptop is also freezing. So this is what happens at times. Priyanka, you can speak. If you will be able to unmute yourself.
Yes, yes. Hi, Hemant. It's wonderful to be here. What a stellar event. And I absolutely enjoyed the keynote that you hosted with Jay Garu, especially because, unicorns being the center of the universe for us. And Jay Garu actually putting rural India in the front and center of India's development is really something, a very mission aligned purpose for all of us at Unicorns. So having said that, hi everyone, I'm Priyanka Kamath. I'm the founder of 100 Giga and the global head for Unicorn Girls. I've been really blessed to be a part of this orbit because Jay Garu himself has selected me for this role, and it's such an honor to be working with our CEO Siddharth Reddy, and together I'm sure we will be able to catapult a lot of rural talents onto the global stage. So this panel segment really speaks to my heart because a lot of my work in the entrepreneurship area has also been related to building for the bottom billion. So we've built Dhan Kanya GPT, which is for 23 million girls dropping out of schools in rural India. We built Shikshana GPT with the top pediatrician of our country, Dr. Tanmay Motiwala, so that we can stop a lot of these kids to go into malnutrition. We built Samriddhi app for farmer profitability labs. We built a skill recommendation engine that tells 16 lakh students which path to take for their careers. So having said that, it's really an honor to take all of these projects forward and nurture more unicorns into Viksit Bharat 2047, because if we are not tapping into the 60% of our population sitting in the rural, we will always be called a developing country. So let's go dig deeper into what we are doing in the panel today. I would love to invite Mr. Kishor Jagirdar and Mr. Dharmesh Naik. Let me quickly invite them. So please join me in welcoming Kishor Jagirdar and Dharmesh Naik. So Kishor Jagirdar, sir, here is a chairman and managing director of Infosys Management. Mr. Jagirdar is a builder of scale with deep expertise across strategic consulting, technology, organizational infrastructure, transformation. He's consistently been helping businesses moved from ambition to success. And what really sets him apart is his measurable outcomes, for which I really need to read it out because it's a long list of accolades. So he's a respected voice in business transformation, and he's technically, his ability to combine business and practical execution really makes him the figure to look forward to solving all the business entrepreneurial problems. So like Jay Garu was telling in the start of the keynote also that, we don't want more tinkerers and thinkers. We need more problem solvers. And Kishor Jagirdar ji is exactly that. So please welcome Kishor Jagirdar ji. And my next guest for today is Mr. Dharmesh Naik. He is an entrepreneurial minded executive with 3 decades of experience in IT industry. He's driving dynamic business results across client relationship management and IT services, service delivery, pre-sales, P&L management. You think of it, he's done it. And he's also done leadership development roles with IBM, almost 13 years in IBM, working with all the major clients. His leadership philosophy centers around mentoring and motivating the maximum productivity to foster cohesiveness, right? And build high performance team. Absolutely a fan of his venture, which he co-founded, which is a solar EPC company back in 2018. And now I really have, my heart goes out when I hear about Upper Maya Cancer Care Centers. It's a healthcare company that was launched in 2023, but knowing Dharmesh ji, this is a plan seeded that long ago. So please do welcome me in also, sharing his independent director and board member expertise. Let's dig into all of these credible milestones that our guests have today and pave a way to Viksit Bharat 2047. We'll try to keep it as much as conversational as possible and not make it more interview driven because we would love for the youth of our country to see Kishore ji and Dharmesh ji as their role models. So welcome, Kishore ji and Dharmesh ji. Would love to, invite you to this high impact platform. So as we know, our the topic of the year, right? Like year and decade, and basically it's the advent of electricity, which is AI. So let's start with innovation in AI. And you know how India and the world is optimizing 10%. Only for the top 10%, and the entire defragmented system which is in the rural India is left apart, and the digital divide is going away and it's just increasing day by day, right? So my question to first, we'll go with Kishorji. How do you see the role of rural innovation and economic growth in Viksit Bharat 2047 with technologies like AI at its crux? Over to you, Kishorji.
Sir, we were not able to hear you. Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for inviting me into this session, and it's an honor. As you know, almost everyone today in the rural space have a smartphone, and utility of understanding how it is applied in the daily life is already there. Now, a lot of part of the rural spaces have now been flooded with the BC Sakis, that these are women on entrepreneurs or women professionals who have been picked up from the rural spaces, who have been trained to handle the gaps between the understanding of what the bank processes are to the rural spaces. So this could be any housewife or any other person across the neighborhood who has some kind of time to spare. Similarly, we have individuals out there trying to see the bridging of the gaps of the farming community challenges of where to procure the seeds, or in the financial aspect, the credit card system for the farming community, and various other initiatives of the government, and also the various fintech and solutions that have been provided. They've aggressively been of making an outreach to the rural spaces. In Karnataka, we have almost 8,000 BC Sakis, and they bridge the gap between the banks and the people who are seeking assistance in opening bank accounts, processing it, loan application, all these kinds of things. Similarly, there are healthcare workers, all of them, the ASHA workers, the Anganwadi workers, all of them have been engrossed into one way or the digital footprint that they are creating. At the same time, a lot of information is spread across, which is not on an average not accessible by the common people on the grassroots level. So I think the AI part here playing a big role in not only contextually giving the right information based on a query, and at the same time there are a lot of sakhas and sakis, bots being created in bilingual languages, which have been tremendously impacting the rural spaces, especially which interacts and makes it like it's not just an animated thing or something that is across the screen, but it is actually making the people feel as if someone out there is really there, listening to them, talking to them, and giving them the right approaches of how to deal with the day-to-day challenges. So I see a big penetration right now. We were talking about all this in the last 5 years, but I see now that this has already penetrated, and I think we are coming up with a completely new market setup where people from the urban space and the rural space have hyper connectivity to the utilities all across. That's what I would like to put across. Hello.
Hey, there. I hope I'm audible, but that was such a promising note, Mr. Jagirdar. Knowing that rural women and youth have access to, data systems like these, because if they are out of these data systems, the inequalities will bake into systems of tomorrow. So it's really important to go to the level of Sakhis and Sakhas, and absolutely love the way you are working on the fintech projects also, which I believe RBI is doing a great job with the digital self-help groups. They are bringing a lot of digital solutions to the self-help groups there. So incredible. My next question would be to Mr. Dharmesh Naik ji. So Dharmesh ji, you know how if this was Silicon Valley, rural India would be called a misplaced market and not a rural India. So technically, it's a gold mine to tap into. There was an incredible book on this, on how the treasure is built at the bottom of the pyramid. So my question to you is, what are the investment opportunities that you would look into for underserved markets? What are the investment opportunities?
First
Dharmesh
of
ji?
all, yeah. Can you hear me?
Hi, Dharmesh ji. Welcome.
So, when we talk about rural, obviously we are an agriculture country, and 70% of our area is rural, which cater into the agriculture industry. So I see a lot of opportunity for investment there to help the farmers in terms of building the cold storages and building strong supply chain solutions, which can timely take their crops to the markets, and with the minimum of wastages. Apart from agriculture, I also strongly feel that there are a lot of opportunities for renewable energy solutions like solar energy and biogas. I've worked extensively for 3 years, and I have seen very closely that each and every home in a village or a farm in a village can be used to generate solar power by installing solar panels, which can help the country to generate more power, instead of depending only on the centralized large thermal or hydropower stations. So those are the
Got it.
opportunities I
So,
see. Apart from that, being in healthcare startup, I see a lot of gap between the larger cities or metros and tier 2, tier 3 towns and rural. We are not finding enough super multi-speciality hospitals or healthcare facilities in those areas. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and that's where we started considering those areas.
That's wonderful, Mr. Dharmesh. And your journey also to Upper Maya Care, I would love to extend that a little bit, because that itself is an investment opportunity where people are looking at 10x returns. VCs are always looking at 10x returns. You are here expanding your care centers from Surat, from Saurashtra to multiple parts of India now. So, how do you actually plan and strategize your investment opportunities so that it's a role model or a playbook for other healthcare startups as well to actually take inspiration from?
So what we do is we look at small towns where those facilities are not available, especially surrounding 50 to 100 kilometers, because what happens is the patients from the rural area who are staying far away from the larger cities, metros or tier 1 cities, they generally give up because they can't reach to the large cities on time, or they cannot afford those services. Like, for example, if somebody has to stay for a month in a metro cities like Bombay or Bangalore, or larger cities in Gujarat like Ahmedabad, it becomes very, very problematic for them, because they don't know much about those cities. The treatment itself is costlier, and then somebody has to stay along with the patient. So it's a like double-edged sword for them. One side they have to spend on the family member who is suffering from the illness, and other side the breadwinner has to be there with them, so he also loses the income. So that's how we identified this. Okay, let's go closer to the needy people and set up centers over there.
That is wonderful. It's not only that you're solving for the life expectancy of the patient, but you're also solving for the cost that comes with a cancer caring patient. So that's kudos to you, Dharmesh. All of us are with you on this mission. My next question would be to Kishor ji. Kishor ji, you have some staggering numbers out there. You work with 100 MSMEs. You are actually impacting 12,000 rural youth, and there's about 2,800 villages. Please, add to the numbers firstly, if you can. I'm trying my best here to grab the numbers that you've impacted. But the main question to you, Kishor ji, would be, how is technology actually helping you in making India a developed country? How are you actually impacting the rural with technology would be my question, please. Over to you, Kishor ji.
Yeah, I'd just like to put the context. We have legally registered about 12,000 rural startups, and we have been working with 120,000 youth in Karnataka. So we have covered almost every gram panchayat. There are 6,000 gram panchayats in Karnataka. We have covered every gram panchayat with minimum 2 of our rural startup, and 28,000 villages altogether. So with regards to the technology base, see, there are different aspects of the technology that are making an impact. Now, one is where the rural spaces are more of producers, where people are psychologically focused on producing things like growing crops, or even the artisans are there. They are focused on limited scope of what they can do. Now here the technology part comes in, creating value addition of what they are doing to the next level of the value chain, where the utility enhances the commercial value of what they've been producing. So if I may give an example, like banana, if if a farmer is growing banana, the focus is largely to extract the banana, and then the rest becomes waste. Now, how do you convert those waste with technology available, with machines and equipments, with innovations that can produce something out of the waste? Like, for example, the stem of the banana, you can produce diabetic juice, then you can produce paper cups, or the spoons, or plates, and then fabrics, yarns, rope making, and so many such things. And each of these are based out of innovations. And at the end of the day, it creates a local economy and a value chain right at the doorstep of the farm, right? And that's one part of the aspect of innovation and technology coming together. Now the other aspect is about what can you do on a mass level, where you can take certain things which are simplifying the life of the people at the bottom of the pyramid, and how do you make sure these innovations are impacting and creating some kind of relevance to people's lives on a daily basis, right? So one is I would like to mention that how UPI has changed uh, the lives at the grassroots level, even at the remotest places where we go across the country today. You will find people are more familiar with the QR code, and they are able to make payments. And though the cash transaction system is still there out there in some places, in catchment areas, but then almost every place you will find the QR code and the UPI being of massive transformation of financial freedom. That is one part. And the second part is about how these technologies are enabling the seamless flow of information which are relevant and contextually right, as I mentioned earlier. And these technologies are supporting, like in the waste management, how do I ensure the wet waste, dry waste, everything is mapped? How do I track it from the source to the point where it is given a solution, and then convert that into a data analytics, sort of a mapping, where I know where the e-waste is coming from or the wet waste is coming from, and right in the rural spaces where I'm able to track, there are a lot of data that can be converted into information about the health of the community. And it actually translates into many other data per touch points. And this is something that was not possible to even think of. I think thanks to COVID, all this started becoming a reality, and it accelerated all these significantly. Today we are able to see that many part of the rural spaces now, thanks to Swachh Bharat Abhiyan scheme and various other schemes, the waste management itself has become a local economy. And like the temple flowers, they're all circulated, so there's a lot of value addition. It's being converted into various byproducts. And similarly, waste which are segregated, thrown away, are converted into usable furnitures. Again, they are converted into various equipments, construction equipments, road laying equipments. So many things are there which have been been revolutionized through technology. Now, I'm not only focusing on the IT part or the innovations or technology brought through information technology alone, but there's a whole lot of world created out in the rural spaces, and people have become very aggressive with a lot of incubation, centers working largely focused only on the rural interventions. So I think it does make a new India image already possible, and these are something that even the world is looking up and trying to seek and understand how these breakthroughs, jugards, and all we are trying to do, and these simple innovations, how they are making a big difference and bringing down the cost. It's making a lot of difference, and it's been a part of the study across the world as well. So I would like to rest my case here, and I would really post a very good and a very powerful impression about what's happening really today in the rural spaces with technology. And I'm sure this will be imbibed by various other village economies across the Asian market and African countries, all coming together to learn from this. Thank you.
That's wonderful, Kishorji. You are literally unlocking the value chain here end to end for, taking the scraps of a plant to actually making it into a local economy. Kudos to you. And I did read a lot about your work on the cashew farmers that help rural local economy there. So it's truly make in India for the globe, where you are able to take all the cashew plantation exports to the globe. So congrats to you on that. While we are on this topic, just a quick shout out to the Junicorn youth as well. We had youth from Kakinada, which is a tier 2, tier 3 town. It's actually a tier 3 town in Andhra Pradesh, and the kids there actually took the banana extracts and I made like like millet and banana extract chocolates, which was ultimately made into a venture, and that venture was acquired. So to all the youth listening in, please take this as an example to they say that treasure can be made out of anything. So nothing is a trash, everything is a treasure. So may this serve as an example to you. So thank you, Kishorji, for highlighting that angle.
I just
My question.
Yeah,
Yes,
just adding to the point that you have, it's very critical to understand that in the urban centers, a lot of things are considered as a waste which has no further scope of any economic value. But
correct.
in the rural spaces,
Correct.
they are all decentralized and it's a shared
Yes,
economy. So, therefore, there is a circular aspect of everything. So, everything has some value at some point of time with the right people. So, that makes a lot of sense.
very true.
Yeah, just to
Very true.
add,
Very eloquently put, actually. There's a circular economy and value for everything in the chain. Thank you. Were you wanting to highlight some more, Kishorji?
No, no, thank you.
Priyanka, I just want to add a point here. Okay, when
Yes.
Kishorji, while Kishorji has emphasized on the waste available across rural, there's a lot of opportunity having a domestic biogas plants for the individual consumers, and they can save, not only save the money spending on the gas cylinders, but also utilize the waste which is available from their own home in terms of the vegetables and fruits and all that. There is, in fact, a startup from Pune has developed a solution for such things.
That's amazing, Dharmeji. Yeah, my next question, in fact, was to you, a little bit flipped on the same side. You know how we are exploring technology helping rural India, but you are in a very sensitive, very hyper personalized human environment. You know, like how much technology does really help in healthcare? Do you see the advent of like a Optimus Prime robo roaming around, or like the front level compounders being replaced by robots? We would love to touch upon that. Like in healthcare, really, is AI and technology going to take over, or is there time for that?
Uh,
Dharmesh, over.
Yeah, sure. So, when we talk about technology in healthcare, obviously, to manage the overall healthcare facility, technology is being used, and definitely it is going to increase over a period of time. But as far as the treating the patients, or interacting with the patients and their family, human touch is must, because a lot of sympathy is required, because when they come, especially when I talk about cancer patients and the family members, when they come to us, most of the times they are already tired with the illness, and since the facility is not available in the nearby area, so they're tired. They're also suffering because of the cost, or sometimes if they have gone to larger cities, whatever the budget has been given to them for the treatment. So a lot of human touch is required to sympathize the not only to patient but to family members. So I strongly feel that using robots and technology for interacting with the patient and the family is still far away. Other problem with the area where we provide services is the issue of technology being used by the patients or the family members. Though today, most of the people in the rural, especially the youth, is using the mobile and certain technologies like ChatGPT or Gemini and all, but that too for the general usage, not from interacting on a chatbot and all. So if I have to create a chatbot for patient's family to so that they can interact with my chatbot, I feel that it could be a little too early for those things.
Okay, that's very well segregated. Yeah,
Yeah.
please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Other thing is, we need to create a lot of awareness about the issues they face, so that the early detection of cancer can happen and we can provide treatments. Today, what happens is, because of there is no awareness, they don't know what is happening. And when they come to know, or when they realize that it is not now able to manage within themselves with the support of the local general practitioners or so, they come to the places where they get the treatment. But by the time it is too late, that it is into the third stage, or sometimes it, the early third stage of the cancer disease, and then it becomes problematic. So we need to create awareness sessions which is more in person instead of using technologies.
Got it. This is a very important point. Like, in a world where everything is increasingly technology driven, you're putting humans at the front and center of it. So, human first technology is what is needed. We don't need to push technology just for the sake of it. Really, when it's needed, say there's like terabytes of data on, there was a recent study on breast cancer technology, right, where there was terabytes of data of the different lumps that are formed in the breast, and it was actually helping to detect the cancer even before it arrives in the body. So say like 10 years before or 5 years before, you're able to do the predictive analytics. So maybe there, yes, there is AI needed, but like you rightly pointed out, Dharmesh sir, there's a lot of human touch required. And with your work with Upper Maya Cancer Clinics, really, you are giving a new life to these patients with the human touch. And I really have to give a shout out to our Junicorns protobots as well. They are creating the first level compounder data entry systems on a robo, so that the redundant data that is kept asking about symptoms, about which visit they have come and how many times they've come to the doctor, is being captured by this robo. It's a 3D printed robo, so it's very sustainable and very useful. Also, they are actually using a similar kind of prototypes in Narayana Hospital HSR layout. So we are making sure that our Junicorns will take inspiration from you and work with you on the cancer care center as well. So coming, we have about like 10 minutes. So we'll take
before you
5.
move ahead, yeah, okay. Before you move, I just
Yes,
want to
please
add
go.
one point. You were referring about the breast cancer screening and AI in that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there is a solution available from a Bangalore-based company, which is different than the traditional way of doing the breast screening. Because what happens when you go to the rural people, the females are not open to come for the breast examination because they feel ashamed when somebody touches them, right? And especially when a male doctor touches them. So there is a solution available where basically, they have created a solution where the thermal imaging is used, and there is a filter between a patient and the doctor who is taking the images. But what happens is that solution is still not reached to the entire rural community yet, because it's in the early stage. Obviously, the data which is available with them is humongous, but how do you compare if you don't have the new data coming? Where do you compare and detect the early cancers, especially for the female in breast pad? So again, there are more startups or more institutes required to take such technology to them, but still the human touch would be the priority.
Can I just share something out here?
Very, very well said. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
There are two aspects of here, two different world. One is where we are talking about the economies where the birth rate has dropped and aging economies have taken forefront. It could be Europe, it could be even in the US, Russia, China, which is also facing the same problem. And the chronic case is very essentially found in Japan, where coming to India and taking a treatment out here is much cost effective rather than going into the medical expenses in Japan itself. Now, why is that? Because they're focused largely on the geriatrics and old age healthcare and those kinds of things because of the population dip. Now, such places, robotics having to make a big role out there to create convenience and capture the data all makes sense. But in India, we have a lot of traditional knowledge which is also there as a part of the learning system and the healing system. So there are multiple layers like the transmedicinal stuff, and then we have the Ayurveda, we have the homeopathy. People adapt to multiple courses for healing. Now, the traditional bone setter just holds your hand and gives 80% to 85% accurate reading, which even the modern diagnostic hospitals or orthopedician cannot give. So these are some of the practices that cannot be eliminated or sidelined. What we look at in India is more about non-invasive kind of evaluation that Mr. Naik was mentioning about the thermal scanning and all that. So there are a lot of IITs, startups which have come up with these solutions where you are able to scan, just look at the facial thing, and from the face or the skin, you can detect all the health issues and the vitality of the organs, and also predict the kind of aging and the future problems that you might come up with. Now, to a large extent, for Apollo is implementing this across the country. We have Fortis, which is Fortis group of hospitals, which are also doing it. Columbia Asia now taken over by, they're also doing that. So here, what you get to see even in the rural spaces, it virtually, the cervical cancer and all this stuff is done in a non-invasive way. And to large extent, these diagnostic equipments, they can be put on a backpack and you can take it to doorstep and get it. You can get the solution out there, and the diagnosis can be done on the spot at the 1/10 of the cost what you would spend in a city, or you would come across and go to a regular diagnostic center, and that too saves a lot of time. Now, ITC and DRDO, they have come up with all these solutions. So I would say there are plenty innovations and technologies out there, both in healthcare and various aspects of daily life, which are changing things. Because when you go to the urban centers, they are hijacked by the insurance priority. Now they'll ask you whether you have got an insurance. If you have, then you are like assaulted with multiple bills and all, which it will wipe you out of your financials if you are not covered. So similarly, in the rural spaces, to avoid all this, and there's a democratization approach. So each primary healthcare center is equipped with all this equipment. Especially, I'm talking about the state of Karnataka, where we have done a lot of work from the COVID. So I would say more and more of discovery learning through that is non-invasive method is required. And then the other aspect is that we are not putting hospitals where there is a need or a demand. We like there is in Kolar, there is a large set of communities suffering from fluoride. Now there is no hospital there having a specific solution or being created right where the need is. So as the Naik was mentioning, people have to go a long way in search of solution. So by mapping through AI, we are trying to bring a contextual connect between the solutions of the network of hospitals available where they are, and what can be brought as an intervention with the larger aspect of what the suffering is in the community. So there's an integration of this, and it's not just like over the shelf solution everywhere. This gives a more centralized approach. There's a mapping of the population. We know exactly in what area how many people are suffering with what problems and ailments, and then how do you bring intervention from raising from the orange to the yellow, and from yellow to green, and how do you bring them back to a normal, so that you create a healthy population. Now this is a strategic intervention being done on a very organized way in Karnataka. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you for those comprehensive insights. It's really important to interlace data points with the hot maps of where the solution is required. Really, it takes me back to some of the work we did as COVID frontline workers. In Telangana, mapping the real-time hospital beds for the patients who really needed it, and it was the public-private partnership, and we came rising out of that. Saving at least 1 lakh people per month. So this was back in 2022, peak pandemic wave 2, actually. So very similar. I think that just flashed in my mind. So we have a last few minutes. I would love to, understand the role of ecosystem play here. My question would be to Dharmesh ji. Dharmesh ji, you moved from solar, company to now building an empire with your healthcare centers, cancer care centers. How much do you think ecosystems play a role in this, and how does one leverage your ecosystem support to build the kind of solutions you're building? Because it really looks like a public-private partnership that you need in order to get to these kind of areas. So over to you, Dharmesh ji. Please shine some light.
Yeah, sure. So, obviously, ecosystem play a major role for anyone, not only for people like us who are into healthcare. When you talk about the tier 2, tier 3 towns or rural areas, right from setting up the facility till running it properly, everywhere the ecosystem is going to play a role. Because what happens today, majority of people from rural wants to go to the bigger cities because they feel that there are better opportunities available there. For example, in our industry, a fresh doctor, he went to Ahmedabad or Pune or Bombay to study. Now he has seen the kind of hospitals there and kind of a lifestyle which is there. So he may not want to come back to the rural area immediately after completing his education.
Correct.
So we need to build an ecosystem where we ensure that the facilities are improving in terms of their day-to-day life, and they get better facility to work. So it will be like a win-win situation for the entrepreneurs like us and the other part of who is going to work with us. Other parties, when you talk about public-private partnership, obviously, others, one side is government is pushing a lot of schemes. Like, must have heard Prime Minister Ayushman Yojana scheme, PMJY, which is popularly known as. Now, it was earlier for, the certain lower income population only, but now they are increased the scope for the people above 70. So all the citizens of India above 70 are not covered under PMJY. Whatever income level are there from. Recently, they've also announced the same scheme for the government employees who are now retired, so 60 and above. So they are expanding this. And for the people like us, it's a good value proposition because most of the treatments are covered under the scheme, and there is a good value to the hospitals which they provide treatment for. So government is pushing a lot, and other side, people like us has to really build such centers in those areas with the help of other people who are into not into directly into the healthcare, but they can provide either land, they provide investment support by investing into our ideas. So that way it can help. And then obviously the other side of the ecosystem would be the technology front, wherever we can utilize them in terms of building our strong backend to support our multi-center approach going forward.
Wonderful anecdotes. Really, I think those data points get us to understand the level of ecosystem play. Thank you for shining light, Dharmesh ji. I think we have a final few minutes, so we'll just wanting to have this close out here with Kishor ji chiming in. We are moving towards Viksit Bharat 2047, and all of you are putting in that work. By 2032, if we want to become $1 trillion economy, right? I already see you representing 40 billion on the table with your MSME work. If you could shine light on that, it would be great, on how we all can actually impact MSMEs, because that is where the real unlock is. That is where the $1 trillion economy can be achieved. So Kishor ji, please close it out with that.
Yeah, thank you very much. We believe that the entire ecosystem has to be empowered from the ground up. So therefore, we have focused on creating clusters of agri clusters and livelihood clusters. And by doing this under the various schemes and all, now we have come up with our own social stock exchange approach, and how do we get these funded. And it's similar to the startup ecosystem, where the only difference is that people out here are in large numbers, and it's a community based traction that is built. And now, if you look at all the talukas, there are 246 talukas in Karnataka. Each of these have a different resource or a different skill metrics, or the local population having interest in certain things. So we map that, then enable them to become a very successful cluster. Now that could be a livelihood cluster or just a agri-based cluster. Then we tie down these talukas to the districts where the MSMEs are able to produce or add values. So therefore, there is a common facility center, or there is an actual industrial belt where people can come and actually use it as a democratized approach of community innovation. And through this method, there's a value chain which is created where producers are getting buyers right there close to their markets, and then it creates a cyclic effect. Now, once that is happening, we bring all these clusters together. And when we are talking about each district or each taluk, when you bring 1% of incremental change through the livelihood, enhancing livelihood, and creating a lot of purchasing power for the local economy or the local population, obviously it is going to be circulated back. And then the cumulative impact of 1% incremental change in all these places leads to exponential growth. And that's where we are talking about. We have created the agribusiness corridor in Karnataka, right from Belagavi to Chamarajanagar, covering all the districts which come under the economic corridor. And then we have brought 1,20,000 youth whom we have legally registered in the 12,000 startups that we mentioned. And then all these clusters put together creates a very robust captive market. And cumulatively, if this same thing is replicated in the neighboring states of Tamil Nadu, Kerala, or we talk about Goa and Maharashtra, we have created a huge impact. So our vision is by 2032, we have to build about 400 billion social assets for the people through cold storages, enhancement of technology-based solutions, mini food parks, and various stuff that we have got in our corridor as a part of the component and the cog. So all these depends upon the abundance of the local resources, and how do you harvest it and harness it into something meaningful where there is a need or connectivity to the demand locally or internationally. Now, at the same time, you also create a global value chain. That means what is grown locally has a demand on a very large scale at some place across where it is abundantly exported or required. And then you create a consistent growth story of those people. Now, if you look at this whole thing, this will result in 400 billion. So 400 billion means 40% of 1 trillion. The rest of the amount of the 1 trillion economy can come through various industrial growth and various other aspects. Correct. But the local economy strength lies out here, which we are building. Now, if you replicate this across every state in India, we have a 30 trillion storyboard or a narrative by 2047 as Viksit Bharat. And I would say, why do we have to be hijacked with the idea of 4 trillion, which we are talking about? We can always create this with such a big population on a daily basis. If we do 10 rupees transaction on a daily lives, you are creating a ripple effect across the country, right? So I feel that this is the way we need to empower the grassroots level people and the rural entrepreneurship leading. So rural entrepreneurship will redefine India and the growth story of India. And this needs to be taken out as a story or a narrative to every part of the country. Let everyone be part of this and create their own narrative to their local economy. It's total freedom, and it's a joy and excitement to be part of this. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, Kishorji. It really, there's a very strong patriotism when you talk, and it is really needed in today's times when sovereign, power is no longer land, it's intelligence. So, we need to bring that intelligence back to our country, and hopefully all the brain drain can be reversed. All the youth can stay back in our country and help talents like Kishor ji, Dharmesh ji, building their healthcare empires, building their MSME clusters, because the real unlock is in the bottom 90% where you have the $1 trillion opportunity. So for all the rural youth listening, don't go build another 10 minute app, but 10-minute grocery app, but build a 10-minute ambulance that can actually come and help rural doctors get connected, or like get the patients connected to the city doctors. Or if the youth of our country who do not have resources for skills, how are we going to bring them education to that level, build skill equity? So these are some real problems that will actually solve the Viksit Bharat 2047 mission. So with that, thank you everyone for listening in. And it's been such a pleasure. Thanks to the organizers, Hemant ji, Rishikesh ji, for giving an opportunity to shine the spotlight on India and take our talents global. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you very much. Stay on for a few minutes. I need to get all three of you on stage, on the virtual stage here. So let me
Yes.
just bring all of you here. Yes.
If I could just manage to update my name, it says Google Pixel.
You have left your mark Google Pixel. Don't worry, Priyanka. You will be talked about. So don't worry about.
Thank you. Thank
Names
you
are
so
not what
much.
appears
Yes.
on our nameplates. Names are what we make for ourselves. Somebody wise had said this long time ago. Kind of
Thank
reminded
you.
me of that. So thank you, Priyanka, for moderating it so well. Thank you, Kishore ji, and thank you, Dharmesh ji, for sharing your views. And I think the underlying theme of the entire day is about the massive level of impact that can be created, whether it is individuals, whether it is the ecosystem coming in together, but we are talking of impact at scale today. So thank you very much to all three of you for being here on that panel, sharing your time and insights with us and the audience on our virtual platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
With
Thank you.
much.
that,
Thank you.
yes, with that, I can now move on to our next panel.